Hello everyone, this is Ahmed, and in this video I'll be talking about Istio. The key points of this video: explaining what is Istio, why Istio would be the solution for you, installing Istio, deploying a sample app by Istio, and then cleaning up the system. So let's start with the first point. What is Istio? So if you have a Kubernetes cluster, this is a follow-up video. I have previously made a video talking about Kubernetes APIs. Check the description box below for the links. And this is the cluster. You have multiple microservices deployed all around the cluster. But the problem is if you have a hacker that hacked into your cluster, like past the firewalls and all, and let's say if you have a DP that everyone is connected to, so the hacker only needs to do is just get into the cluster, create another microservice, and just connect to the DP, and he will have all the information without anyone detecting that he got in. So how Istio would be the solution for this? Istio will deploy a sidecar, which is an envoy proxy. Istio has two layers: a control plane and a data plane. So the control plane will have all the Istio elements, and the data plane will be the proxies and sidecars to transfer data between microservices. And in this case, let's say microservice A wants to talk to microservice B. The two microservices will not connect directly. They will connect. They will try to make a communication between the two. So the sidecar will talk to the control plane. Can I talk to service B? If it said yes, the connection is established. So it will be that both of them isolated from each other, since I have a rule that says only service A talks to service B. So since I have this, so what if service C wants to talk to A? It will go and ask the control plane, can I talk to A? It will say no, so there is no connection. So what if the hacker comes into the cluster, creates a microservice, and wants to communicate to one of the microservices or the database? It will go automatically to the control plane. Control plane will say, no, you don't have permission to do this connection, and it will show an error, and there will be no connection for it. So now let's move on and install Istio in our cluster. So I've prepared this document that shows how to install Istio. In this tutorial, I used Istio 0.7.1. I'm running Kubernetes 1.10.0. You can check it out how to install Kubernetes or how to install a specific version of Kubernetes in the same document. So right here, I'm installing Kubernetes. You can say I need this version. So let's go down to the Istio stuff. First, we need to run these 3 lines, which is gonna download Istio for me, Istio files like samples and installation configuration and all that. So I'm just gonna run it. So now if I say ls, I have Istio 0.7.1. Going back to the document, go to Istio and then export the path. Exported. Now move on. Let's install Istio in the Kubernetes cluster. So just do kube control get pods minus namespace Istio system. I have all the Istio components running. So this is the control plane of Istio. The CA for certification and between two Istios, and ingress is where the data is coming from, all the incoming requests from outside. The mixer is where you define the rules of the sidecars, so who should talk to who, and the pilot is the one responsible of creating these sidecars next to the microservices that you have. So now let's move on to the next step. So I ran that, I got the same result right here. So now let's create a book info application, which is one that exists in the samples of Istio. So I'm just gonna install that, run the same, get pods minus all wide. So now it's initializing. Now I have all the components of book info running right here. So let's get back to the document. So I have them all running. So it shows 2.2/2. That means I have in a single pod, which is the first pod, I have two containers. One is the microservice and the other, just like right here. So one is the microservice and the other is the sidecar. So now, if I want to access the application is exposed in the Istio ingress. So I have to get the port number of Istio ingress. So if I run this command right here, I will get the services in the cluster. And now I have the port number. So this is the port number that the application is exposed on. So I'm just gonna call it from outside the cluster. So just gonna copy the port number and go to a web browser in my local machine and say, put the IP address of my cluster. And then put the port number that I got / product page. And now I have the book info application is running on the cluster. I have all the pods and sidecar are running so that all the communication that I have is known to me. So now let's move on to the last point of the video, which is cleaning up the system. So if you go to the documentation, you'll start running these two commands right here. So the first one will delete the book info application from your cluster. Just gonna run it. Now let's check it out if it's deleted or not. It's terminating. It's gonna take like a minute or two to fully delete from your system. So now let's move on to the second point, which is deleting Istio itself. Now if we said cook control get pods minus all namespaces, I'll have them all as terminating. So it's gonna take it's gonna take a minute or two to fully delete this from your system. So now there is no Istio, and now it's still deleting the book info. So that's the video about Istio. So the key points of let's go back to the key points. What is Istio? Why Istio is the solution? We talked how to install Istio. We talked about how to install Istio, deployed an application, and cleared the system up. Thank you so much for watching.